Hey everyone, so in this video we're gonna be unfucking an agency coaching offer all the way to 100k a month. So this right here is Jordan. I believe that at the moment he's doing about 30k a month in his consulting business. And so in this video we're gonna be going over the current ecosystem and pipeline he's using, the problems that come with using that pipeline, and finally the new pipeline ecosystem he can use to pretty much solve all those problems, plug all those leaks, and in turn add an extra $100,000 every single month to his consulting business. That way you as a coach or consultant can watch this video, implement all of this right here, and in turn make a shit ton of money in your consulting business. So let's dive in. So to start this off, let me just give you a quick overview on what he's doing right now. So at the moment his offer is one-to-one agency scaling. The ICP is agency owners stuck between 5 and 100k a month, and the price point I would believe is anywhere between $2,000 and $10,000, ideally somewhere in between that. Now the funnel he's using is a pretty simple funnel. It's a hybrid VSL slash DM funnel. So he's got Instagram and YouTube both acting as top of funnel, attracting leads, and then bouncing between the two platforms, bouncing from Instagram to YouTube and from YouTube to Instagram until they're nurtured enough and reach that threshold where they either get converted through the DMs on Instagram through this CTA that he has got right here, or get converted through this landing page that he has got for his program, which is pretty simple: VSL, proof, USP, scarcity, and insert creating urgency, booking calendar, and FAQ. So this is pretty much what he's doing right now. That said, let's move over to the fun part of this video, the problems that come with using that pipeline, and the little details that make this whole thing lose him a bunch of money and keep him stuck at 30k a month. So the problems with that pipeline, the first one is that there is no clear path from your content and his content to his offer. So on YouTube you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 links. First of all, having this many links in your bio is simply making it harder for the person to even click one of them because of this thing called choice overload. The more options somebody has, the less likely they are to actually pick one. So all these links cause confusion, and to make it worse, most of them are pretty freaking useless. There really is no reason to send them over to your LinkedIn. You don't have to send them on X, especially since you're not really posting anything there. No fucking reason to send them over to TikTok, and maybe the Instagram and the agency are the only ones that actually drive conversion. The Instagram gets them to your Instagram where you convert them, and your agency pretty much creates social proof. So keep that as a note. You should remove all of this and just keep this and this. Pretty simple. Now, when you get them over to your Instagram, there's still not a crystal clear path for them to go from your Instagram page to your offer. And by crystal clear, I mean click this, click that, book a call, painful. Pretty simple. You have got no highlights on your page, there's no link in your bio, and even this call to action that you have, DM me for one-on-one coaching, is pretty weak, and most people kind of overlook it, to be honest. On the YouTube side of things, it's sort of clear because on each video you have a simple direct CTA in your bio or description, whatever you want to call this, that tells people to DM you on Instagram. This is sort of clear, but all of this is adding unnecessary friction to the machine, which is something that over time compounds, and it's obviously bad. Not the biggest problem, but still something that, if not optimized, ruins everything else. The second one is going to be cheap branding. So let me explain what I mean by that. Your branding is what I call premium cheap branding. So you're trying to look premium, but in doing so, you end up looking cheap. So here, you're trying to have a nice little aesthetic editing style, but it looks bad. Objectively, this is bad. Second example is in your thumbnails. You're trying to create a cool thumbnail with little text to make it aesthetic once again, but it ends up looking bad. Bad lighting, bad text, everything. Finally, your actual recording setup is the same thing. You're trying to have a cool recording setup. Oh, I'm fucking in Dubai, you know, you can look at this view, but again, it looks very bad and people can see that you're trying to look good, but you fail in doing so. And it pretty much gives people the ick that you are not actually making 300k a month subconsciously, even though they know that you're making 300k a month, whatever it is, with your agency. Subconsciously they think that you don't know your shit. And because as humans operate emotionally, so mostly subconsciously, this gives people the ick, so they click off and go watch someone else. Finally, your brand has no visuals. What I mean by that is that the way you present your value is not done in a unique way. For example, I'll get onto this later. I have this thing right here, which is pretty much my entire thesis on info. And when people see that in the future, they're gonna be like, oh, this is from Ioannis, I understand it. And so everyone who tries to copy it pretty much gives me free traffic. Same with Hormozy. He created what we call the value equation, which is something that almost everyone in the business space recognizes. And so that unique visual he's created gets remembered in the prospect's head. That way, whenever they see it, they're like, oh, Hormozy, oh, Jordan, oh, Ioannis. And they go back to your brand, which gives you one more shot to get them to watch your content, trust you, and buy from you, and pay you a lot of money. So even though your content is valuable, it is packaged in a way that repels people, which means that the value isn't actually being seen, meaning it is not solving any problems, meaning it's not valuable. And this is a harsh truth, but it has to be said. If people are not actually watching, your value is not valuable because it's not solving any problem and not alleviating any pain. Pretty simple. The third problem is that your nurture mechanism is simply inefficient and suboptimal. So say we take this video as an example. People start watching the video with a problem, and by the end, through the value, they expect to reach a solution. So by the end of the video, they can feel one of two things. They can either have this feeling of, oh, I got it, or they can have this feeling of, I already knew this and this didn't really change my life in any way, shape, or form. If they have this, then they take action, their behavior changes, they get the result, and they trust you. But if they feel like this, they get no action, they get no result, so you get little to no trust. And you, at the moment, are mainly here. This is more like a spectrum. So it's like this is full trust and this is no trust. Because if people are watching your content and by the end they feel, oh, fuck, I actually understand my problem now. I actually understand what it takes to solve it. I got it. I have a new, view of the situation I'm in. You create immense amounts of trust. But if people watch your content and think, oh, I already knew this shit, this is nothing new, this is the same as every single other fucking guru, this has the opposite effect, because you look just like everyone else and you just wasted their time. So you're simply losing trust. The fourth problem is a suboptimal capture mechanism. The capture mechanism is, simply put, what converts potential prospects and leads that exist on the market, are scrolling on Instagram, are binge watching content on YouTube, are in a platform where they can consume content and your content. The capture mechanism is, simply put, what turns these people into viewers. Pretty simple. So title, thumbnail, an idea. These three things. And if the capture mechanism is not working properly, then nothing after it really matters, because no water, no traffic, no flow is coming through these parts of the pipeline. So if there's something we should be optimizing, it is going to be the capture mechanism. An example of this is in this video right here. The background simply implies nothing. You have got this cool background, but it implies nothing. You are in Dubai, but this could be anywhere in the world. Whereas, well, let's go to William Brown's channel got deleted. I forgot about that. Whereas another example by Charlie Morgan. Let me show you this. So Charlie Morgan, his most popular video is this video right here, where the background is something that actually implies something. It implies indirectly that Charlie has got money. Your background right here implies nothing. This could be anywhere, and because it implies nothing, it actually has a negative effect. The second one is that there are no, as previously, there's no visuals in the thumbnail. Everything is verbal, and as people are primed to look for visuals, that's the way we evolve, not for text. And so people take much longer to interpret this, and by the time they have interpreted this, they've seen that your video has no unique aspect to it, and therefore they do not click. And even if they actually do click, like those 160 people did, they are then met with a pretty bad intro. Now, don't get me wrong, the script of the intro, the actual word you're saying, the structure, everything, it's not great, but it's good. The problem, as I said previously, is your cheap branding, or even better, premium cheap branding, which has the subconscious effect of he doesn't look like someone doing 300k a month, which overpowers the conscious logical part of the brain and therefore gets them to click off, or even if they watch, they click off after a couple of minutes or even seconds. And the fifth and final problem is that you're simply doing too little volume on YouTube. Your last video, as of me creating this mirror board, I know you posted one more, I saw this today. Your last video was 3 weeks ago. The previous one was a month ago. The previous one was 2 months ago. This is nothing. A video every 2 weeks or a video a month is nothing. Because the thing is, by posting content on YouTube, you are displaying your discipline and consistency abilities to the market. And if people see that, oh, this guy, he's not consistent, why would they trust you? This is, again, giving people a leak, as I said. So if you yourself are not consistent, how can you expect people to trust you? So these were the 5 problems, the 5 main problems with this pipeline. So let's move over to the new pipeline you can use to solve those problems and in turn add an extra $100,000 per month to your business. Pretty cool. So the first one is going to be understanding your ICP. Getting clients for an info business, especially high-ticket business, is simply taking people from their current paradigm, how they view the world now, to the aligned paradigm, which is pretty much the opposite of reasons as to why people do not buy. So, objections. And your content, so the experiences you put and you subject those people to, go on to get filtered through this current paradigm, as we said here, to then either confirm the aligned paradigm or deny the aligned paradigm, and in so confirm this. And so pretty much my point is that the better you understand this, the more accurately you will be able to engineer and design your content so the experiences you subject those people to. That way, every single time they get filtered through that paradigm, they always end up confirming the aligned paradigm as much as possible. That's pretty much all selling info is. In a nutshell, this is the most simplified version there is. And so the more you understand this, the more you understand your ICP and their paradigm, the more clients you're gonna get, because you understand it more, you implement it in your marketing, you confirm the aligned paradigm, and you get more clients. Pretty cool. And then those clients go on to give you more data, which you use to get more understanding, to get more clients, to get more data, and this just loops compounding, exponentially scaling your business. This is fucking amazing. So this is the single biggest lever in your info business. It's not your ads, it's not your content, it's not your appointment setter, it's not your sales script. It is simply understanding how they operate, how they view the world. That way you can design your sales process around that to always optimize them for buying. And every single thing I mention from now on in this video is going to require for you to understand this at a pretty good level. So to give you a bit of a helping hand with this, what I've done is I've went over to Cloud and I've created an entire framework that allows you to pretty much take every single thing you have, every single touch point and sales call, comment, question, DM, everything that has come from an interaction between you and the ICP, and just synthesize it into one very, very, very big document that allows you to understand that ICP precisely, along with some very, very other cool things that you can use to pretty much guide you on exactly what content and what beliefs you need to be shifting through your content. That way people pay you a shit ton of money. So if that's something you want, you can just DM me the word paradigm on Instagram, and I'm gonna send you the entire thing for completely free, along with a full video breaking down exactly how you can build this out and implement it in your content. That way you make a shit ton of money. The next and second thing we're gonna be doing is fixing the branding. So instead of having premium cheap branding, what we want to have is cheap premium branding. This is completely like flipping the script. So we want to look premium with low effort. So when it comes to YouTube, I want you to only be doing these two formats. The first filming format is simply gonna be you in your webcam and a motherboard, exactly what I'm doing right now. Incredibly simple. The second one is going to be just you in front of your iPhone speaking, just raw iPhone. The thumbnail format for this is simply gonna be the exact same thing, webcam plus mirror. Pretty simple. And the thumbnail for the second format is gonna be again the exact same fucking thing, raw iPhone, just a simple picture. Pretty simple. One more thing you'd wanna do is add the banner to your channel. So again, this is pretty simple. You're gonna do exactly what I'm doing with my channel. So pretty much keep the banner, just the mirror UI, I can say in the table by the way, with some simple text explaining what you do. For example, it's me engineering your ICP paradigm to throw money at you using the anti-funnel ecosystem. I forgot what it is there, but I will fix it. And so by leveraging the cheap premium branding, what we're doing is that when the viewer watches all of this, subconsciously they think that, oh, this guy is so successful, he's making all this money, so he simply doesn't have time for high production quality. And because of that, he can actually focus on the value he's providing, so the quality comes out of the value backed by the fact that he's already doing 300k a month in his agency. When it comes to optimizing your Instagram, this is your current profile with this bio, this profile picture, no highlights over here, nothing. And this is the optimized version of your profile that you want to adopt right after watching this video. So you're gonna keep the bio pretty simple. Founder, carbonboxmedia.agency, 3 million a year, and helping agencies systemize their way to 6 figures. Pretty simple. And just add a deep link to your YouTube channel, and specifically to a video which acts either as a flywheel VSL or a low pressure flywheel VSL. And then below that you want to add some pretty simple highlights. The first one is simply gonna be a start here highlight, where in that highlight there's 3 main pillars. There is your story, there is your philosophy, so the way that you approach solving the problem you're solving for the ICP, and then there is proof. These 3 make up your start here highlight. Pretty simple. Just use your story to explain your philosophy and back it with proof in just one sentence. Pretty simple. The other 3 highlights, or could be more, doesn't really matter, are just going to be testimonials. Again, the same thing we're doing is one of the things you're preaching in your own content, which is the infinite scroll funnel, making sure that people just cannot get to the end of your social proof. We're doing this through testimonials, case studies, case study breakdowns, and screenshots. So please, after watching this video, Jordan, I want you to implement this next day, the latest. The third thing we're gonna be fixing is creating a clear path from the content to the offer. On your YouTube description, as we can see right here, the only things that you want to have are gonna be your Instagram, your scheduler, which is either Calendly or Cal.com. Cal.com is better. And maybe if you want a link to your agency, same thing you're doing right now for social proof. When it comes to the YouTube videos, the way that you want to approach those YouTube videos is that people click onto the videos previously with a problem and they leave with a solution. Now, they get that through value. And so in your video, there's gonna be, let's say, 3 value points. First value point, you cover 100%. The third value point, you cover 100% as well. But the second value point, one of the 3, doesn't matter if it's the first, second, or third, ideally third or second, is only going to be covered 50% there. So there's gonna be value 2.5, and the rest of the value is going to be in a resource accessible through a DM automation. And when people get that resource, they can finally reach the solution and solve the problem. And if they don't get that resource, all the time they have spent watching that video goes to shit. Now, preferably, you'd want that resource to be an AI resource. Could be a prompt, could be a framework, could be anything. An example of this is what I did with this video, with this Cloud framework right here, which is pretty cool. You can check it out. And the reason we do that is because an AI resource can be personalized to suit each person's problems and situations. So it's gonna be more valuable and in turn create more trust, which leads to more money in our bank. Pretty cool. The second thing is that whenever the automation is triggered, you of course wanna send the resource, and then here is the fun part. You're gonna get either yourself or maybe even better your setter to create an evergreen explainer loom, pretty much explaining exactly how one can use the resource to solve the problem. Pretty simple, and this again creates a level of connection which creates trust, and eventually after this the setter simply books them in through a simple setting flow, which I think we all understand. If they don't get booked in yet, they are now on your Instagram, where they get nurtured through the infinite scroll funnel on your highlights and through the middle of funnel reels that you post that are targeted towards the YouTube audience who has gotten to your Instagram through this mechanism right here. These reels can either be clipped content, Q&A content, breakdown content, micro content, documented content, or just raw footage of you yapping. Pretty simple. And all those reels must then send them back over to YouTube. This is kind of different because we are using reels to just get people back to YouTube, back to where they came from. Instead of targeting people already on Instagram, it's almost like retargeting ads. Because if we target people on Instagram, naturally we find these people because they're scrolling, and someone scrolling is not going to be as committed to actually scaling, and they're gonna be much more likely to give you very fucking annoying objections. By the way, this was one of the things I was covering in the previous video I was posting about another guy, as you can see it here. So I'm gonna be adding a link somewhere here, not where you can also check the video if you want. Now back to our video. Where is it? Here. We sent them over back to YouTube, and the whole thing simply repeats until they have been nurtured enough to pay you in full. Pretty simple. The fourth thing we're going to be doing is optimizing your capture mechanism. So to keep this super fucking simple, all your capture mechanisms should be doing, so title and thumbnail, and of course idea, is when they come across it on their browsing page, they should feel this is speaking precisely to me, it seems different / new, it's proven, and I can sufficiently understand all those things while still wanting to learn more. So targeting, uniqueness, proof, clarity, and curiosity. An example of this is going from this capture mechanism to this capture mechanism, which is what I was covering in the previous video once again. So we're speaking precisely to the ICP, which is closures, because we're saying how to make 40k month as a closure, which is a goal many closers have. We are being different / new because we're using the word discovery maxing. We are creating something that's proven because we say how I use discovery maxing to get to 40k a month. Again, pretty simple. People can sufficiently understand the message, which is very clear, and this combination of things creates curiosity that gets people to click. Now, when you implement this, I promise you, people are gonna be clicking. But if you don't optimize your intro, people are not actually going to stay on your content. So how do we do that? Well, the intro is split into two parts. The first one is the hook, and the second one is the conditioning. For the hook, I just want you to copy this simple thing right here. So the first line you're gonna say is just repeating the title. Same as this video right here. The title was unfucking a consulting or coaching offer, I'm not sure. And the first line that came out of my mouth when you clicked on this video was unfucking an agency coaching offer. So how it came out. That way people understand that, oh, I clicked for this and I get this. Cool, amazing. Once that's done, the next thing you want to be doing is simply sharing some credibility. Numbers, case studies, whatever it is, just some simple credibility. And then use that credibility as a lever to then make them feel stupid, create shame and potential shame in their head if they do not watch a video. This wins you just enough time for you to implement the conditioning, and the conditioning is pretty simple. All we do is we first showcase understanding. So we showcase to them that we understand exactly what the problem is, exactly the situation, right? And pretty much know what's happening in their life, which indirectly tells them that, oh, this guy knows your shit, so I should trust him. You can showcase an understanding about their behavior, their thinking, their beliefs, their feelings, and the problem they are in. And as I said, all of these give you what we call authority and trust, which then wins you enough time to spend the next 30 to 60 seconds changing their paradigm. That way they now have the paradigm and identity they need to have in order to actually watch and implement everything said in the video. So as the intro progresses, this go from being quite far to having achieved total alignment. So people are now gonna sit, watch the video, and actually implement everything. So they're now the person who will actually watch the video and implement it. Pretty fucking simple once again. And the final thing I want you to be doing is just more volume. I want you to be posting on YouTube at least once per week, and I want you to be posting a reel at least once every single day. So Jamie, or whoever is watching this, I hope first you like this video, and hopefully you take all of this, you implement it in your own business, and you make a shit ton of money in the process. That was the video. Take care. Bye.